Okay, I have just shared my screen. Can someone confirm if it is visible? Yes, no. Okay. Okay, everyone be proactive. Okay, everyone try to make some interaction in the chat box so that session will be interactive. So we will keep the session interactive so that I want to understand whether if you people are active or not. Okay. So when I ask questions, just try to give some response in the chat box. Okay. So today we are going to see about the collection framework. So what we are going to see? We are going to see about what the collection framework. Collection framework Java. Okay, this is not even an advanced Java topic, and you can consider this topic in between the beginner level and the advanced level. It is an intermediary level. This concept is in what? Is it in which level? Intermediary level. Okay, so you cannot say this as it is part of core Java, or you cannot say this as this is part of advanced Java. It lies between the core and the advanced. Okay, so why do we go for, what does it mean when I say collection framework in Java, right? So think like this. So we have discussed about arrays till the last session, right? So we have got to know, what are the Java arrays. So we got some idea about arrays. So there are some drawbacks in arrays. If you have focused on the drawbacks, even with the arrays, we are able to solve a lot of problems. But still, there are some drawbacks in the Java arrays. If I want to point out the two drawbacks that we have in the Java arrays, I can say that the first drawback is the size of the array is always fixed. Yes or no? The size of the array is always fixed, right? The second drawback is the elements that you're adding, or you can add only the homogeneous element. You can add only the homogeneous elements. Okay, these are the two drawbacks that we are aware of about Java arrays, right? So these are the drawbacks. So to overcome these two drawbacks, so what I just said, to overcome these two drawbacks, so we go for what? We go for Java collections. We go for Java collection framework. Right? Why we go for Java collection framework? To overcome the drawbacks that we have with Java arrays, we use what? We go for what? We go for the Java collection framework. So how does it going to help us to rectify these drawbacks? That is what we are going to understand. Okay. Before even proceeding with the collection framework, I want to highlight the drawbacks that we are actually facing. Okay. For example, let us take an array of integer. When I say, so this is example one. Okay. So I want to take an array integer a, which is going to store what? The numerical values. Okay, so don't you think that when I am declaring an array, I should also declare the size. I should also declare its size. So declaring the size is mandatory, yes or no? So let me say that I am declaring the size of this particular array as 3. So when I say 3, what does it mean? I can add 3 elements, yes or no? I am allowed to add only 3 elements. I can add lesser than 3 elements, no issues. I can add exactly 3 elements, no issues, but I cannot add more than the 3 elements. Do you agree with me? Right. So what I'm trying to say here is, so I can add 3 numerical values. A of 0 in the index 0. Let me add the number 100. Right. Likewise, so I can add 3 numerical numbers. The index 1. I can add something like 1000. In the index 2, I can add something like 500. Index 2, right? So this is completely acceptable, but I cannot do this, right? I cannot do this. I cannot add something over the size. I cannot add something over the size. This is not possible. When I do this, it is going to give me what? Index out of bound exception. Index out of bound exception. So when you are fixing a size in the beginning, so when the size is already fixed, what does it really mean? You as a programmer can add elements up to the specified size, up to the size that has been given by you, right? You cannot add more than 3 elements. So this is acceptable, okay, and this is not acceptable. You cannot do this. Right? Don't you think that this is one of the drawbacks that we have with the Java arrays? Don't you think so? So to overcome this drawback, to overcome this drawback, so we use what? We use collection framework. Okay, so how the collection framework does look like? For example, let me take an example. So array list is one of the classes. Array list is one of the classes in the collection framework. I can say numbers equal to new array list. Okay, I can specify the size like 6. Even though the capacity is defined, even though the size is defined as 6, I can add. It is not like I can add up to 6 elements. I can add more than 6 elements. I can add what? I can add more than 6 elements. For example, so here the name of the reference is numbers, isn't it? So numbers dot add. Okay, I can add 100. Likewise, so I can add some elements that is not limited to size. I can add more number of elements no matter how much size that you are defining it here. Then let me take 20, let me take 30, and let me take 40 here. Okay, 6, the size is 6, so it is not like I can the size can be limited to 6. Okay, if I have any requirement to add more elements than the size, over the size, I can do that with the collections or with the array list. So array list is part of the collection. We are going to discuss each and every things in detail. So just try to compare the differences between the Java arrays and the collection frameworks. Okay, in the Java arrays, if you are fixing the size, it means the size should be fixed. But in the array list, okay, the size can be what? The size can be variable in nature. Okay, the size can be dynamically increased. It gets dynamically increased in nature. Okay, if you want to add the 7th element, it is completely possible with the collections. When I say collections, in the array list dot add, if I want to add something like 10,000, okay, so I cannot say that since the size has been defined already as the number 6, okay, I cannot say that I can add up to the size. I can also go over the size. I will not get any error. So this is not going to give me any error. No error. So I can say that the one of the main difference is, so when I look at Java arrays, the size is fixed in nature. So this is the conclusion. The size is fixed in nature. Or I can say that nature is fixed in array. Okay. But in collections, the size is growable and shrinkable. Okay, so when I say growable and shrinkable, for example, in the Java arrays, okay, so when I say the a variable, a is an array variable of size 3, so I can imagine these things behind the scenes will be like this. I have an array of size 3. Right, so the value 100, so second value is what? 1000, the third value is what? 500 we have. Right, so if I am trying to add an extra element over the size, okay, so I'm going to get what? I'm going to get index out of bound exception. So I am allowed to add the element, first element, I am also allowed to add the second element. I am also allowed to add the third element, but I am not allowed to add the fourth element because it is not defined. The size is not defined. So the size is already defined as 3. Okay. When I consider the same thing with the collection, okay. So this is, think it like a collection framework. Collection framework. So inside the collection framework, this array list is one of the implementation classes. We will discuss that in detail, but try to understand the difference. Okay. So here I am defining the size as 6. Yes or no? So what is the size that I have just defined? The size has been defined as what? 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me add some random numbers, or let me take the numbers that has been added. So the first box I have added 1000, second box 1001, and 10 I have added, 20 I have added, and the 30 I have added, and the 40 I have added. Okay, so since the size has been 6, I am able to add, I am able to fill all the spaces. Okay? But when I am trying to add the 7th element over the size, okay, when I violate the size, when I do some violation, when I just try to add the 7th element, you will not get any problem with the collection. Okay, so the size will be increased automatically. Okay, size will be increased automatically, and you will be able to add the 7th element. 7th element is what? 10,000. You will not get any error. So dynamically the spaces will be created behind the scene. So this is one of the advantages of collection framework over Java arrays. So this is the first advantage. So the size of the array is fixed, but the size of the collection, okay, it is growable in nature and shrinkable. So when I say shrinkable, you have an option to delete the values on a particular index. For example, if I want to delete a value, if I want to delete this value, if I want to remove this, what happens? Okay, so this index will be completely removed and the remaining space will be shrunk. Let me repeat that again. So if I want to delete a value, for example, if I want to delete 100, so in the arrays I cannot delete 100 directly. I can perform what? I can perform the reassignation. So instead of a equal to beginning, in the beginning I have mentioned that the value 100 is assigned to the index 0. Okay, so I can redo that, right? I can redo it like saying so the same index can hold the value like 0. Okay, so when you do this, the existing 100 will be replaced with the value 0. So this is what happens with the Java arrays. Yes or no? This is what happens with the Java arrays. You cannot completely delete the index. You cannot completely remove this index. This is not possible with arrays. But in array list, in collections, okay, if you add to remove any value, we have to remove any value. For example, I don't like to place 20. Okay, I have an option to remove this completely. Okay, so when I do that, the remaining space will get shrunk. It is resizable in nature. If I don't like to save the value 1001, okay, I have an option to remove this value completely, and the size will become what? Shrink. The size keep becoming shrinkable in nature. Okay, so you can say that the size is growable as well as shrinkable depending upon the values you add. The size will be growing in nature, but if you try to remove any values, the size becomes shrinkable in nature. So completely I can come to a conclusion that all the array list, the collections, in collections, the size of the arrays is growable as well as shrinkable in nature. Okay, so we are just trying to understand the difference. Don't think anything about this array list and what does this add. Okay, we are going to see everything in detail. Okay, so we got to know what is the first advantages that has been fixed by using the first disadvantage in the arrays has been fixed by using the collection framework. So the second disadvantage, you can add only the homogeneous element. So when I say homogeneous, what does it really mean? The same type. When I say homogeneous, what does it really mean? Homogeneous means the same type. Okay, for example, if I have a data like, let me take that I have some raw data, raw data like Java is one raw data. Okay, and I have a raw data like the numerical raw data 10,000. Okay, I have a raw data like true, I have a raw data like false. Okay, so focus here, and I have a raw data like what we call it as Python. Okay, and I have another raw data like 200. Now what else I can take? I have another raw data like let me take it as 100.20. I mean another raw data, let me take it as 200 point. Okay, I have set of raw data. So how many raw data I have? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I want to store this raw data in Java arrays, okay, try to focus it. If I want to store each and every raw data in the Java arrays, so I can create a variable, okay, that is able to store the data of same type. You need to identify the type. If you ever have to identify the type, so I can, so it is clearly visible. Anyone with the eyes can say that this the type, this Java type, Python type, so they both are representing string data type. So I should, in Java arrays, I can define the type as string. Okay, I can define the type as what? I can define the type as string. I can use an array variable name like names. Okay, I can store these two data, right? Homogeneous, so they should be same type. They should be of what? Same type. This is completely valid. Yes or no? This is how it can be done with arrays. For example, if I want to store, let me take the values like true and false. True and false. Okay, these two raw data, they are representing what? They are representing the Boolean type. Yes or no? The Boolean type. So I can take a Boolean array. Okay, so Boolean has to be in the lower case because Java is case sensitive. So Boolean array, I can take a variable name like k, so I can store what? True as well as false. Okay, so and I also have what? Numerical data. So I can use integers to store this numerical data, and at last I also have what? I have also floating point data. So I am supposed to use the floating point data type to store these values. But do you think that can we do this in arrays? We cannot do this in arrays. I cannot define my data type as string. I cannot define my data type and string. Okay, and I cannot define a string array. All types, right? I cannot store all the raw data. It is unacceptable in Java arrays. I cannot do this. Can I do this in arrays? I cannot do this. Why I cannot do this? Array, the definition of array clearly says that if you are creating an array by using any data type, okay, if an array is created by using any data type, the values that you are storing should be of the same type. You are using your string, okay, the values that you are storing should be the string type. If you are trying to store any other data type, it is going to give you an error. Okay, so I can conclude that arrays are going to allow, arrays can allow to store only the homogeneous data type. Homogeneous means same type. So this could be seen as a drawback. Okay, I'm seeing this as a drawback. Okay, I should be in a position to store any kind of data, no matter what the type is. I should be able to store, I should be able to create a reference variable. Okay, and I should define a type in such a way that it is going to store any kind of data, no matter what the type is. If I have such requirement, okay, I cannot use Java arrays, but I can use for collections. This drawback can be overcome by using the collection framework. In the same collection framework, I can create an array list. So don't think what is an array list for now. It's just a class, a new array list. Okay, so I can add all this data. I can add what? I can add all this data. Object dot add, right? And the first data could be Java, right? Java. Okay, let me, instead of going with the diagrams, I can directly type Java, right? Obj dot add dot true. Okay, so the next thing is object dot add 200.30. This should be object, not obj. Object should be object. Okay, so the drawback that we have with arrays is this is the drawback, isn't it? Okay. This drawback can be addressed by using what? The collection framework. So collection framework allow you to store the heterogeneous data. Heterogeneous means the data of different types. So where is the proof? Okay, I want to show you the proof. Let me take this editor. Okay, let me create an array of string obj equal to new string, or I can say the string obj. Okay, so this is a string array. So inside the string array, I am allowed to store any data of type string. Valid. This is also valid. Right? So the moment I do this, see, the moment I do this, that is what, the code is getting broken. Are you able to witness this? Cannot convert. So it says, so we are getting an error. It is clearly visible. So you can see some, can you see some red line? Cannot type mismatch. Okay, type is mismatch. Data type is mismatching. Cannot convert from integer to string. So you are adding something like integer, okay, and you define the data type as string. Unacceptable, which is completely unacceptable. With what? With Java arrays. Okay, so if I want to do the same thing by using collections, I can do like this. Array list. So array list is part of the collection. Don't worry what is an array list. I will explain you. Obj equal to new array list. Okay, it is inside the java.util package. Okay, so I can add all the data. So this add is a method. Don't worry what is an add. So you are just trying to add the data individually step by step. Okay, so what is the first data? Can I say that the data that I am adding here is a string type? Okay, so ideally I can add not only the string type, I can also add the integer type, something like a number. Okay, I can also add something like the floating point type, 100 point here, right? So not only this, I can add something like a boolean type. Okay, so if I print system.out.println obj, okay, so this obj is going to hold, obj is going to store any type of data. It is not limited to the particular data, Okay, so you are allowed to store the string data or the numerical data or the floating point data or the Boolean data. So by this, can we conclude that the array list is part of collection framework, okay, which allows you to store the heterogeneous data, right? So till now we are discussing about what we are discussing about the drawback of Java arrays and how these drawbacks could be addressed by using the collection frameworks. Okay, don't worry about this array list, don't worry about what is a collection, that is the secondary thing. So what I'm trying to say is the drawbacks that you see in the Java arrays can be addressed by using the collection framework, right? So are you getting this? Are you able to identify the drawbacks that we have in the Java arrays now? No? Yes, no? Are able to identify? Yes, no? Everyone should answer. Okay. So now let us see. Okay. So what is an advantage? Okay, we are talking about the drawbacks, but in the interview, you will get a question like, so is there any advantage for arrays over collections? What is the one advantage that the Java array has over the collection framework? What is that one advantage? Okay, the one advantage is arrays are high in performance. So I can say that performance is high with Java arrays. Collection lacks performance when compared to the Java arrays. Okay. So when you talk about the when you bring the performance as the picture, okay, arrays are good in performance. Collection are even though they are good in performance, but when it is compared with Java arrays, so collections are little bit behind when you talk about the performance. Little bit behind the Java arrays when you talk about the performance. The performance wise, the arrays are king. Okay? So performance wise, the collection lacks. Apart from performance, if you want to do manipulations, if you want to add the heterogeneous data, or if you want to do the data manipulation, so there are a lot of advantages that is hidden inside the Java collections. But when you talk about performance, arrays are always high in performance. Okay, why it is high in performance? Okay, this could be concluded after completing the collections concept. Okay, you will get answer to this question once we complete the collection framework. Okay, so shall we proceed? Shall we proceed the hierarchy of the collection? Okay, so let us understand what is a collection. What is a collection in Java? So I can answer it like Java collection is a framework that is available in the util package. Java.util. Okay. It has a set of predefined classes and interfaces to perform data manipulation such as sorting, fetching, and reversing elements. Okay, and it has any build methods to perform the data manipulations. Okay, so what is a collection in Java? Java collection is a framework that is available. Okay, this collection framework is available in the Java Till package. So inside this collection framework, it has set of, just try to focus here. Okay, set of predefined classes. So what does it have? It has the set of what? Set of predefined classes and interfaces to perform data manipulation such as sorting, searching. Okay, these are the important points that I am marking in red. It has many inbuilt methods to perform the data manipulations. Okay, so again one more point. So this is first one. Okay, and the second definition is collection is a root interface in Java which most of the classes in derived. Okay, don't worry, I will give you the justification for these two definitions in short period of time. Okay, this is the second definition. Okay, the definition changes from one context to the another context. Okay, so when you are asked a question like what is a collection in Java, you can answer this in two ways. What is the first way? First way is Java collection is a framework. Okay, this is the first way. Okay, from this context, okay, from the framework construct, okay, you have to answer these lines. You have to justify about the collection framework by giving this three set of lines. Okay, and again if you are asked to what is a collection interface, then this should be the answer. Okay, the answer varies from the context, from one context to another context. Okay, so this will make more sense in some period of time. Okay, let me give you the collection hierarchy for the time being. Okay, so after that you will get a complete picture about what the Java collections, right? So now collection hierarchy. Okay, this is the very important diagram that you should aware of. Okay, so this is collection. Okay, collection has three set of interfaces: list, okay, and it has set, as queue. That's what? List, set, and queue. Okay, under the list there are array list, okay, vector, linked list. Okay, so under vector, okay, let me create some space between these two. Under vector we have what? Stack. Okay, so set, when you talk about set, we have asset, linked asset, okay, and sorted set, navigable set, okay, and at last tree set. right? So under queue, you have a priority queue and the blocking queue. Okay, priority queue we have, and we have, you know, array deck, and we have deck. So what are these things? If you want to, so don't get, okay, there will be some curiosity. Okay, I'm just giving you the collection hierarchy. So collection, list, set, queue. So we have array list, vector, we have linked list, we have stack, asset, linked asset, sorted set. Let me connect everything. Let me connect everything together. Okay, so let me bring this little down. Okay, now, so if we complete all this, the collection framework will get completed. Okay, so this is how it is. Okay, now tomorrow when you come to class, memorize this diagram. That's it. So this is the collection framework. This is the hierarchy of what? Hierarchy of the collection framework. So you should remember few things here. Okay. So here you need to understand what are the interfaces and what are the classes. Okay. So this collection is a interface. So when I say interface, it is a kind of container. Okay. It is an interface. So this list is an interface. Set is an interface. Queue is an interface. Okay. And deck is an interface. Okay, and sorted set is an interface, and navigable set is an interface. So the things that I have marked in the ash color, okay, light black in color, okay, they are what? They are interfaces. Okay, the remaining things that has been specified here, okay, array list is a class, vector is a class, class, this is also a class, and the tree set is also a class, priority queue is a class, and array deck is also a what? It is also a class. Right. So tomorrow if I'm asking you any question, you need to understand the difference. Okay, so this is the complete hierarchy of the collection framework. Okay, this is the collection framework hierarchy. Okay, so inside the collection framework hierarchy, you must do what? Okay, you must remember things. Okay, so this collection is an interface. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, and the things that are in this color are classes, and the thing that is in this color are what? Interfaces. Okay, so by looking at the arrow, you can come to a conclusion that a class can extend to a class. We have discussed this already, right? So when you have two classes, what is the relationship that you can tell after seeing two classes? You can say that this class is extending to this class. Okay, and when you have two interfaces, and two interfaces also what they extends to each other. Okay, interface they always extends to each other. Okay, and extends, right? Okay, but the class is going to do what the classes are, they're going to do, they are implement, they will implement the interfaces. They implement interfaces, implements. Implements. Okay, and implements. Okay, so this is all about the hierarchy of what Java collections. Okay, so you have a collection interface. This is list is an interface. Okay, if I ask you a question like what does it mean, when I say set, you should say that set is an interface. When I ask you what is queue, you should say that queue is an interface. When I ask you what is array list, you should say that array list is a class. Okay, so you need to understand this difference. Okay, just by out this diagram. So we will see each and every implementation in detail. From tomorrow, we are going to understand each and every implementation in detail. So this array list will be explained in detail for at least 2 to 3 classes. It will take at least 2 to 3 classes for me to list out the advantages of array list and its internal implementation. This stack is going to take 2 to 3 classes. Okay, this vector is going to take 2 to 3 classes. So I will ensure that you are getting each and every class in detail, each and every class in detail, and each and every interface in detail, so that at any point of time, at any when you're giving any interview, so you will be in you will be developing a confidence in such a way that you could answer any kind of questions that could be a challenging. Okay, so I will also explain you the internal implementation, so that while revising these topics it becomes very easier for you, right? So this is all about today's class. Okay, so tomorrow when you are coming to the tomorrow's class, you just try to do what, just to try to buy out this diagram in this order. Okay, buy out this diagram and come to tomorrow's session. Okay, so we can do a lot of understanding on these topics. Okay, any questions for me today? Okay, I want you to remember, memorize this diagram, that's it. Okay, memorize this diagram and come, I will explain you each and every class and each and every interfaces. Okay, so any questions for me today?